Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live reaction of Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. We just had episode 89, and it was as unpredictable as ever before. I know that it seems like we say that each and every week, but it's literally true. Each and every week, it's like the fastest hour in pro wrestling. Anything can happen, and today, right at the top of the show, Jamie Iovine announced the big main event with the United World Tag Team titles on the line, and the Bodega have collected the street tax, so to speak, and they are the new United World Tag Team champions. Congratulations to King Fat Boy Papo Esco, and of course, Danny Limelight Rivera, who has been absolutely on fire, both of these guys. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. It's Saturday here in Memphis. We had bell time, Championship Wrestling. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live reaction. Whoa, man, it was crazy. What a crazy episode. But I'm here to talk all about it. And then, of course, in 2 weeks from today, it's the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood 500th episode spectacular. We're going to have that in full. It's a 2-week blockbuster. And actually, that World Tag Team title match was supposed to happen at the 500th episode spectacular. But like the Bodega said, they're not ready to wait, or they're ready now. They're not going to wait. So they got their match, and we have new United World Tag Team champions as of today. Unbelievable. Not to mention Heather Monroe and Halston Body training for the big intergender tag team match, which is arguably, I don't even know if it's that arguable, but the biggest match in women's division history, because if Heather Monroe and Halston Body win, then the women's championship will be sanctioned for the first time in 10 years at the United Wrestling Network. And if they lose, then Jamie Iovine is not going to sanction that title. And I do not see how that helps the company at all. I don't even know why they're doing it, other than the fact that Nico Marquez got hit in the head with a bottle. Bo, what's up, man? Bodega was giving us spoilers for that title win for weeks. Well, they've been saying they're coming after the gold. And yeah, that was a spoiler because they absolutely captured it. But what chaos, man. It was absolutely chaotic, where you had all the members of SoCal Distance. Well, let's back up. First and foremost, who would have thought that Dom Kubrick would be using the Freebird rule to be Andy Brown's tag team partner? You have 5 members of SoCal Distancing, so which 2 was it going to be? And apparently they picked the wrong ones, but Ray Rosas was there, BHK was there. It was just unbelievable. Sliced Boogie apparently has now joined the Bodega, so that's a trio, it looks like. What's up, Gary? How are you? The admin was a little rude to me today. I asked a legit question. How is the admin rude? You asked if there were other tapings already in the can or something like that. What does that matter? That does not matter. All you have to do is watch, man. Because if you know how many tapings are in the can, then you're going to go find spoilers, and that spoils it for everybody. There is a method to the madness. Who else is here? Let's talk some wrestling. What was the best part of today's show? I mean, it was an hour, but it feels like it was much less than that. Everything went by so fast. And our phones are absolutely blowing up with Twitter. So everybody's loving the Bodega being the new tag team champions. But now that poses the question, who are the number 1 contenders now? So from what our understanding is the United World Tag Team titles are supposed to be defended at the next Blockbuster in 2 weeks. Like I said, it's a 2-week spectacular, so it'll be 2 weeks worth of Blockbuster matches. But who are going to be the number 1 contenders for that? Gary said he doesn't read spoilers, but we don't give spoilers, so that's good. We agree on that. Bo says, Halston's Rocky training montage, though. Oh, my gosh. How freaking funny was that? Halston Body is not a professional wrestler, if you guys have not noticed that. So Jamie Iovine to team Heather Monroe and Halston Body in a wrestling match against Ruby Reyes and CC Chanel, 2 of the best in our women's division. Definitely a lopsided, unfair match, but Heather Monroe is going to whip Halston Body into shape, and that match is going to happen in 2 weeks. So that will be, I believe, the main event in 2 weeks. And the women's championship is not technically on the line, but it is. So the title will be sanctioned. We will crown a women's champion here in the United Wrestling Network if and only if Heather and Halston can beat Ruby Reyes and CC Chanel. And that's a whole different ball game there too, because CC Chanel, she's not necessarily on Team Nico or Jamie. She was forced into this by signing a contract that she didn't read, by the way. And that's how she got into this. Gaming in Yellow says, bring the Stoner Brothers. They're awesome. The Stoner Brothers? That sounds good. Xavier, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us in the chat, man. We appreciate that. Thank you all. Bo, you were there. Gary, you were there. We appreciate you guys. If you missed any of the matches or if you joined us late or had to duck out a little bit early, all of the matches are posted right now in their entirety, including Heather Monroe and Halston Body's unbelievable training video. And part 2 is coming next week. So Heather said she has an idea. So we'll see what was up her sleeve coming up next week. Dave Scooby's in the house. What's up, man? Gary says, I love your show and have no reason to disrespect the business that way. No, we don't feel like you're disrespectful, man. We appreciate you coming on. Thanks for joining the live reaction. Thanks for chatting with us. What a star-studded chat, man. We had Alyssa Marino in the chat. We had Snipes. Keita Murray was in there, and those guys were wrestling each other today. The new United World Tag Team Champions were in the chat. Danny Limelight Rivera, and of course, King Fatboy Papo Esco. They were there. Anthony Idol was in the chat, man. It was like the who's who. Halston Body was there, which typically we wouldn't be so excited about Halston because he's such a nasty character on the show. But right now, he's fighting for the women's division and the women's division championship. So we're pulling hard for him. Dave Scooby says it was a mass confusion on the tag team championship match. Yeah, to say the least. Will SoCal Distancing want a rematch in 2 weeks? Now, there you go. Yeah, SoCal Distancing, I think, deserves a rematch after losing the titles. I mean, typically you would get some sort of return match, but it hasn't been made official of who the number one contenders are. Obviously, it just happened, so we'll find out more as the story unfolds. Gary says, so these are the legit wrestlers in the chat. Absolutely. Those are the legit wrestlers. All you have to do is click their name, and it'll take you to their actual channel. But yes, so before every show, Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingo, we reach out to the crew, and a lot of them have fun in the chat. They love talking to the wrestling fans and hearing the opinions. Usually Todd Kenley is in there. I love Todd Kenley with all of his calls. They're so good. But each and every week, you're going to have different wrestlers, actual legit wrestlers. That's not just somebody pretending. And I never even thought about that. But yeah, I guess that could happen. But those were the legit wrestlers in the chat. Absolutely. Xavier says the Bodega are the new United World Tag Team Champions. Oh, yeah. And like you said, they've been saying it's going to happen for weeks. They collected that street tax. You know what? Hats off to Jamie Iovine for making that match. He didn't have to. But right at the top of the hour, man, you never miss a minute of Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingo. Bo says, I wouldn't be surprised if Distancing regroups for a rematch, perhaps bringing the championship-winning original Quest and Brown pairing, or maybe put Miguel in there up against Papo. Now, that's a good point right there. I don't know that I would have switched up Quest and Brown, especially since they are the tag team champions. They won them. But adding Miguel in the mix would be good to fight off, Papo Esco. Because once Esco got in the ring, things changed big time. Gaming and Yelling says, I love you guys as much as I love Hood Slam Wrestling. Well, we appreciate that, man. We're happy to be on your list, man. We're here each and every Saturday at noon Central Time on CW30 right here in the Memphis market, but then also on YouTube Premiere. We have several different playlists, including every single episode. All 89 episodes are available in full. Also, feature matches, women's division playlist. You can catch all your favorites. CC Chanel, Heather Monroe, Dan Joseph, Watts. Several of the wrestlers have their own playlist where all you have to do is click and you can watch all their best hits and misses. David says, here we go. Took me a few minutes to find it. We appreciate it, David. Thank you, man. Got any questions or what's your favorite part of today's show? Because it was wild. Keita Murray and Snipes had a heck of a match. But what about that banger between Dan Joseph and Jesse James? Their chests were all beat up, and I would not have wanted to be in there. Xavier says, Dustin, how's the podcast? Man, the podcast is awesome. I'm actually thinking, I'm a little nervous about it, but I'm thinking of reaching out to the new United World Tag Team Champions. We had Danny Limelight on several weeks back, maybe a couple months ago now. He gave me a real hard time, but maybe having Papo Esco on to talk to him about the big win. But the podcast, it drops on all your favorite podcast providers, but then also right here on YouTube every Monday at noon Central. And then, of course, you can go back and listen to the previous episodes. This week will be episode 50 of the podcast. So it's hard to believe already almost a full year worth of podcasts. James Earl Cash, what's up? Do you guys have any shows planned for New Year's Eve? Well, we have shows each and every Saturday. There's not going to be any interruptions for New Year's or the holidays. So technically, I believe that is, what Saturday is that? That is January 2nd. So Saturday, January 2nd, we'll have a brand new episode. But each and every Saturday, I know there were some questions online about taking some time off or anything like that. But no, we never said that. We're never taking time off. Each and every Saturday, we have a brand new episode. You can catch it right here on YouTube Premiere or go back into the archives. Like I said, those playlists have every single episode. Now, that's featuring guys like Scorpio Sky, Luchasaurus, MJF, Willie Mack, Chris Bay. Shout out to Chris Bay. He's going for the Impact World Championship coming up. The Young Bucks, their matches with the Young Bucks. And also the Young Bucks were on the show just last year in 2019. Or was that 20? Actually, it was 2020. They were on the show this year at the beginning. And then also Cody and Brandy joined myself in studio for an exclusive interview. So lots of good stuff. But yeah, January 2nd, we do have an episode. So we're not taking any time off. Bo says TK's one-liners was missed in the chat today. I know, man. We love messing with Todd, and just he's really – Todd is the voice of Championship Wrestling. He's awesome. Gaming and Yelling says Jose Santiago is my boy. We love Jose Santiago. Can't wait to have him back on the show. He has several matches in the feature matches playlist. You can check those out. Gary, yes, the Wolf Zaddies are still with us. I can't say very much, but I will tell you that keep an eye on the man, I can't even say that. Big things coming from the Wolf Zaddies on a national level, on a television show. I think that's all I can say. I probably said too much, but keep an eye out for them. The Zaddies have been busy. Xavier said, yeah, that would be great for the podcast. Yeah, Papo Esco. Bo says Wolf Zaddies have been competing on Primetime Live. So, yes, they are in the fold. Absolutely, they are. You got to remember, man, we have a huge roster full of guys and gals. And so not everybody can be on the show each and every week. But, we do our best to mix it up and put your faves out there. Let's see. Keith says, I like the new NWA Shockwave show. It's really good. That show is even better if you didn't watch Primetime Live on pay-per-view. A lot of those matches, I love the NWA, and I can't wait for Power to come back. But those matches were taped at Primetime Live in Thunder Studios. Willie, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us. How'd you like today's show? Xavier says NWA Shockwave is amazing. I checked it out. CC Chanel versus Camille was awesome. Love it. Willie says Jesse James versus Jordan Clearwater. It could happen. Yes. The next thing up for Jordan Clearwater, next week, he defends the Heritage title against Will Allday. And he is scheduled to face and defend against Richie Slade coming up in 2 weeks. So he has to get through Will Allday next week, and then Richie Slade versus Jordan Clearwater at the Spectacular. Snalem says, hi, dude. Best wishes from Munich, Germany. Whoa, Germany in the house. What's up, man? How did you guys find us all the way here in Memphis? I know it's the World Wide Web and we're on YouTube, but that's interesting, man. Welcome. Thanks for watching. David says, better make sure to lay out a good spread for Papo if you have him in the podcast. Well, more importantly, I better have my, dot my I's and cross my T's, because King Papo will he'll put me in place real quick. he has before already. I think Maria mispronounced his name on accident. Not that we didn't know his name, but she just misspoke, and he was like, would you call me? Terry says Jordan Clearwater is a mixture of Ric Flair and Bob Backlund. That's interesting you say that. I think that Clearwater is kind of like a Barry Windham / Lance Jade kind of. If you remember Lance Cade, not Jade. Lance Jade's another guy from Memphis, but Lance Cade or Garrison Cade kind of reminds me of him. God rest his soul. Gary says, I see a lot of Backlund and Clearwater too. Okay. I never thought of that until right now. Willie says, Championship Wrestling is awesome. Oh, yeah. Snalem says, easy, the internet. Yeah. Once I asked you, but I'm just curious as far as, did it just pop up as a suggestion or did you find us somehow? I'm always curious as how people find out about the programming. But do us a favor, man, hit the like button. Take that subscribe button to Slap City, click it. The more times that you guys like and comment and, of course, subscribe, the more eyeballs that see us. And we had about 100 people in the live chat today, so that was a lot of fun, including some really, really good wrestlers and broadcasters. Terry, I believe Clearwater could hold the 10 pounds of gold one day. Now, you got to think, Jordan Clearwater is very, very young. Very, very young. So he has a lot of years ahead of him, and he is far ahead of many of the guys with the experience that he has. Tonight in Memphis at 3589 Summer Avenue in Memphis. It's SOAR Championship Wrestling. I will be hosting the evening, and it's going to be a big night of action. Dante Smiley, who you've seen on AEW, he's going to be in action against Alan Steele. Sir Mo from the WWE, former World Tag Team Champion, he'll be in the house. It's going to be a good time. Can't wait. 7:30 bell time. You can come meet Sir Mo at a meet and greet at 5:30. Go to championshipwrestlingmemphis.com to get some more details. It's right at the top. You click that, and it'll tell you the ticket prices and all that good stuff. Gary says, my goal is to go to the Ocean View Pavilion before I kick the bucket. Well, Gary, hopefully you're not counting down your days to kick the bucket. And I'm pretty sure that audience and the crowd will be hopefully be back. Gosh, coming up next year, I would hope. Fingers crossed. Ruby Rays versus Thunder Rosa. Oh, man, I would love to see that. Good suggestion there, Willie. Gary says, I found you guys through a little channel called U2 America until Spectrum took over. Okay. Well, very cool. Bo says, I don't know who has it worse between Dan Joseph and Jack Cartwright in recent weeks. Both guys are great competitors who can't catch a break. You know what? Nobody pins Dan Joseph without cheating. And here lately, Jack Cartwright was phenomenal in today's match. He is so athletic and gifted, and it seems like he's had 2-on-1 encounters. Look what happened with him and Howdy Price and Levi Shapiro. And then today against Beef Candy, these guys just can't catch a break. But you could finally see Dan Joseph is cracking a little bit. He was very, very upset. Terry says, does SOAR have matches on YouTube? You know, I'm not sure about that. You can search on YouTube. We post our matches each and every week. So if we get any footage from tonight's action, we'll try to post that, or maybe I can try to go live from ringside. James says, hey, got a political question. We're not talking politics. Is Kane the mayor of your town? No, Kane is the mayor of Knox County. We are in Memphis, Tennessee. I believe it's about 8 to 10 hours away. How do you rate the Big Red Machine as a mayor? He's been choke slamming or a choke. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not close enough to Knox County, but my good buddy, my coach, Dr. Tom Pritchard, he's out there. He's the head trainer with Kane's. They have a wrestling school together out in Knoxville. So I'm not sure, but I do know that that's Knox County. So Kane still loves the wrestling business. He has a wrestling school that's run by Dr. Tom Pritchard. Of course, we've seen him on the WWE network here recently with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then also The Undertaker. So he's still active, just not as much as normal. But I don't have any political answers. I just know that he is the mayor of Knox County, and that's about 10 hours away. Snalem says, I think your business is more sympathetic than WWE. That's why I support your company. Well, I appreciate you for supporting the local businesses, small businesses. Our brand, so Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingo, is a syndication of Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. So you'll see myself and Maria, along with SOAR Championship Wrestling and other local promotions that we help promote and try to help them sell tickets and raise awareness to all the things that are going on here in Memphis. So we are the only program. This, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood is syndicated on over 125 stations across the United States. The one that you guys are watching right here on this YouTube channel is from Memphis exclusively. And you'll see some changes coming at some point. The pandemic has slowed that down, but eventually we will have our own roster. You'll see a lot of different changes coming as soon as we get on the other side of the pandemic. So that'll be really good for everybody. Keith, I should do Sting's signature yell now that he's joined AEW. I think I'll go, Sting! Sting! That's not very good. Sting! That's better. Sting! Gary says Dan Joseph also is a hell of a good commentator. Yes, so I actually did commentary with Dan Joseph and Todd Kenley on some episodes in 2019. Those are actually available right here on the program. Just before I entered the red carpet rumble as a big surprise. But yeah, me and Dan were going back and forth during commentary. I love Dan Joseph. I'm a huge fan of his. Hell of a good commentator as well. Would take him over Madison Rayne. I like Madison Rayne. I thought she was okay. Greg says, oh my God, what a show, Dustin. Thanks, Greg. Good to see you back in the chat, man. James says, do you think Kane would make an appearance on Championship Wrestling? Absolutely. If the price was right. A lot of times you guys say, well, why don't you have this guy? Why don't you have that guy? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Well, it's all about the money, man. Those guys get paid. So to have Kane, the mayor of Knox County and future WWE Hall of Famer, obviously, to me, just no doubt about it, you just got to pay the price. Let's see. Snalem says, you seem to be more classic U.S. American wrestling culture than others. Yes, we don't like to say that we're old school, but we're more of that studio feel, a smaller, I hate to even say smaller because with the syndicated product, it's all over the place. So when you guys say, well, Heather Monroe, she should get more exposure. She's getting a lot of exposure. All of our wrestlers on this program get a lot of exposure on 125 stations across the United States. And if you guys do watch AEW Dark or Dynamite, you will see the roster and the matches littered with Championship Wrestling performers. Everybody from, and like I said earlier, MJF, Luchasaurus, Young Bucks, Scorpio Sky, the list goes on and on. They all started at Championship Wrestling or have come through Championship Wrestling. Peter Avalon, Brandon Cutler. I can keep going, but when you watch AEW Dark, you'll see Watts, Ray Rosas, Danny Limelight, Heather Monroe, Viperous. I mean, they just signed Max Caster, who was on our program. So, yeah, man, these guys and gals are getting big opportunities, but we are a little bit more classic. We're going to do some stuff that you're not going to see on WWE or maybe even see on AEW for that matter. Howdy from Louisiana. Howdy. I see what you did there. What's going on, WGS? David said Madison may be planning a return to the ring in Impact, so that might open up a commentary spot. Gary said, I hope so, David. Willie, Howdy Price belongs in the dumpster. And we mentioned this in the chat. Houston Body went in the dumpster just before the pandemic. You got to go check that episode. I want to say it's episode 54, but I can't remember right off the top of my head. But, man, it was a big moment in Championship Wrestling history. Lacey Ryan throwing Halston Body into that dumpster. Terry says, ready to have matches in Little Rock again, which is closer to me. All right. Well, Terry, when we get fired up here in Memphis, you're going to have to make a little road trip and come and see us, man. Gary says, why doesn't Howdy use his tagline anymore? It was well written. Well, his singing, I don't know. He did the singing for a full year straight. I'm a fan of the singing, and we just haven't gotten it. So maybe he's switching things up, or maybe because we like it, he won't do it. He is a bad guy. We're not supposed to like him. WGS says, I've done commentary in Louisiana. You have any advice on how someone like me could improve or branch out? Well, WGS, to give you any kind of advice, I would have to hear your work. So direct message that to us. I'd love to check it out. Absolutely. But what I would say is watch as much wrestling as you can and listen to as many people as you can, because if you can learn one thing every time you sit down and watch a match, just makes you that much better. Just like WWE right now is kind of under fire because they're sending some guys back to the Performance Center, but that's what it's all about, is perfecting your craft. Let's see. David says, I like her rapport with Josh on commentary, but I want to see Madison wrestle again too. Okay, I see what you're saying. Now who is, and her name escapes me. Alyssa Marino, first of all, is a very good broadcaster. We'll see her at NXT, WWE, or one of these major companies at some point again. She's just that good, like Renee Young. But she was doing commentary on AEW Dark, and I'm a big fan of hers. She was very, very good. It'll come to me. Put it in the chat if you guys know what I'm talking about. James says, how many AW wrestlers started with Championship Wrestling? Oh, a bunch, man. We got everybody from Scorpio Sky, MJF, Luchasaurus, Willie Mack was there, Max Caster. I know Peter Avalon, Brandon Cutler. Cody's actually been on the show too. I mean, the list goes on and on of the guys who came through. And there's a lot of WWE guys too. And Veda Scott, that's it. Thank you, Dave Scooby. I'm a huge Veda Scott fan. Hello, Jamode. How are you? Welcome back, man. Haven't seen you in a minute. But I'm a big fan of Veda Scott. I became a fan of hers listening to her commentary on AEW Dark, and I expected her to, I don't know what else she does, but I want to watch her. I want to watch her every week, or I want to hear her every week. I was a big fan of hers. And also the commentator, the boxer that's training to wrestle too, and his name escapes me too. And I don't have any notes, guys. I'm just flying off the top of my head here, but I'm a big fan of his as well. I like the commentary teams. Big fan. WGS says, been a fan of wrestling since 1986. Been working in Louisiana for 12 years now. Want me to DM you? Yeah, you could send it on YouTube or go to at Dustin Starr on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and I'll take a look at it, man. I'm a big wrestling fan. I watch all the stuff. Greg, I love Championship Wrestling commentary. Man, I do too. Todd Kenley is the best. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Blake Bulletproof Troop, and that's not taking anything away from anybody, but Blake Troop has been phenomenal on color commentary, talking about all the holds and how they hurt, because these holds are real. These are real wrestling holds. Now, how much pressure you apply is up to that performer, but Blake Troop is an MMA fighter, a heavyweight MMA fighter. He will knock you out. So him being at the desk brings a lot of value. Good morning, Jamode. Man, it's 1:30 here in Memphis, so good afternoon. Gary says Alyssa is great on commentary, my favorite female in the present booth. Me too, and I was a big fan of Renee Young as well. Willie says, will there be a women's tag team championship belt in Championship Wrestling or on Primetime Live? Women's titles, as far as tag teams, has not been in the discussion just yet, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. AEW doesn't even have women tag team titles, and then also WWE just crowned a couple of years ago their first women tag team champion. So let's get the women's world title first, or the women's division championship, whatever the official name is going to be. Let's get that first and then worry about the others. Jamode, I am doing good, brother. My wife, Maria, she is doing awesome. Our baby boy is here. He's a little bit over a month old. Maria made her return to Championship Wrestling today. And, of course, she's been keeping up and watching. She loves it, too. Every now and then she's like, man, what is going on? Like Jack Banning. You don't know Jack. What about Jack Banning? Did you guys see these promos the last couple of weeks? What a strange situation that we have there. Big Metroid, what's up, man? Main event was wild, yeah, to say the least. That first second there, I thought they were going to throw the match out, and I'm not a big fan of those types of finishes. But what a match. What a match. New champs. Bo says, don't let Maria hear you say you want to see Veda Scott every week. No kidding. I can't wait to hear my Maria on commentary whenever we get together to do commentary Championship Wrestling from Memphis, man. I can't wait for that. There's no telling what she's going to say. She doesn't have much of a filter. She tells it like it is. Keith says, Anthony Ogogo, right, former Olympic boxing medalist. I am a fan of Anthony Ogogo. The first couple of weeks are a little tough because you don't really know what your role is. But ever since then, man, Anthony Ogogo is really good on commentary. I like it. I like his accent. I like his perspective. He's a Nightmare Family guy. I love it. And him and Taz, they mix it up a little bit. Of course, I'm a big Taz fan. And, gosh, Excalibur. I love Excalibur. So who do I not like, man? I like all those guys. David says, always love Veda Scott. I've watched several of her matches on YouTube. I won't lie. I have several Googled images of her in my collection. Okay, so maybe I have to Google Veda Scott because I just know her from her commentary pretty much. Jamode said it's 11:30 still here in California. All right, well, thanks for joining me, Jamode. If you missed, got to go back and check it out. It is crazy today. World Champ says great things are coming. Oh, yeah, great things are coming. 2021 can't get here fast enough. Jamode said if your little boy is 18 years old, you're going to train him as a wrestler. Well, right now I have a 12-year-old, Brady. He's 12, this guy right here. And then we have a 1-month-old. So maybe tag team champions in the future. I honestly don't think he has any interest in becoming a professional wrestler, though. I've got a couple of more minutes here, guys and gals. Hit me up if you have any kind of questions. Get them to me real quick. I've got to get to 3589 Summer Avenue for Championship Wrestling tonight. It's SOAR Championship Wrestling with Sir Mo. And I'll be hosting. I'll be masked up. We'll be following the CDC guidelines and rules and regulations. Limited seating. They are taking advance tickets at championshipwrestlingmemphis.com. You just click the link at the top. And then also you can pay at the door. Now, I do know that there are limitations on how many people can be in the building. So if it sells out, man, it just kind of sells out. It's not a big, huge type of an event. We know that we need to be very modest with what's going on in the world today, and we're being very conscious of that. It's not a championship wrestling promoted show, but we are helping promote that because we are partners with several independent organizations in Memphis, and some were not. So let me just put that out there too. You know how the business is. Terry, best show of the year. Oh, man, we appreciate it, Terry. So today was the best show of the year. Anybody agree? Put it in the chat. Agree or disagree? That's saying a lot right there because a lot has happened this year, man. Gary says, have you ever done commentary with Matt Striker? Matt's my fave. I love Matt Striker. He actually commentated a couple of my matches on ECW, and I think I actually wrestled Matt Striker. I don't think that was on SmackDown. I think it was a dark match, but I did wrestle Matt Striker for WWE, and he did commentary on a couple of my matches in WWE as well. So I'm a fan of Matt Striker. And let's see, where was he? He wasn't actually, yeah, he was at Lucha Underground. I'm a big fan of Lucha Underground. I hate that it's not in production anymore. Jamote said, I saw a couple of matches with Ray Rosas with SoCal Distancing and still need an autograph from you and your wife, Maria. We need to get you that autograph, Jamote. We'll send you a picture. Greg agrees. Best show of the year. Very cool. Wow. Okay. Maybe that's a poll we need to put out. Was today the best show of the year? It was definitely fastest hour in wrestling, man. It was definitely unpredictable as ever. David says, Dustin, hope this question isn't too offbeat. Well, let me proofread it first. Do you know the song My Maria? Yes. You can find it on YouTube. I always thought it would be a perfect song for you. Yeah, there are several really good My Maria songs. So I sing those to her from time to time. I don't sing them very well, but I do my best nonetheless. Just have to ask, just who is that man pulling the strings for SoCal Distancing? That's the thing, man. He kind of looks like Aaron Stevens. He kind of looks like Ray Rosas, but he's not. I have no idea. So we've kind of coined him as the man. He carries a crowbar. I don't know, man. Hopefully we'll find out. David says, much regard for Matt Striker. Snalem says, do you drink whiskey? If yes, do you have a favorite brand? I'm not a big whiskey guy. I'm not a big drinker, really, but vodka was my favorite, probably, other than Michelob Ultra because it's low carb. Got to watch the figure, man. I'm not done wrestling yet. Reginald, what's up, man? Loving the losing streak of Dan Joseph since losing the championship. You might be the only one. Looking forward to what happens to him next. Greetings from Dubai. Thank God for YouTube and Fight TV. Man, thank you for joining us, Reginald. We appreciate it. And I was saying the same thing today. Dan Joseph's had it tough here, and he's finally showing some frustration with the officiating because let's face it, it's because of officiating why he lost. It was 2-on-1 with Howdy Price being involved in these last two matches against Levi Shapiro. And then today, of course, where the feet were on the ropes and the ref missed it. I can see his frustration. So I'm interested to see what happens next with Dan Joseph as well. WGS says, I tweeted a match to you on Twitter. Thank you, brother. I'll check that out. That was probably my phone dinging a second ago. Gary says, have a great day, Dustin. Stay safe, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you, Gary. Hopefully we'll see you next week too. And no disrespect or anything. We just we know that we're going to have a brand new show each and every Saturday. And we absolutely try to prevent any kind of spoilers. It's much easier when there's not a live audience there. I'll tell you that. Other than some of the boys, can't wait to post the pictures and all that kind of stuff. Bo says, best show of the year. Now that's the power of the bodega. I love it. Ruby Rays versus Vipers, my favorite ladies wrestler, says Willie. I'm here for that match, man. Did you see Vipers on AEW a couple of weeks back? Ruby Rays is in action in 2 weeks. She will also be on the show next week as well with CC Chanel, and I'm sure Jamie Iovine will be a part of that too. Jamode says, you want my address? You can send it. Yes, Jamode, send it to me on Twitter on DM. Choli, what's up? Or Choli? Ray Rosas and others save the day. Oh, man, where did Ray Rosas find these friends at? Because this dude didn't have any friends. And then all of a sudden, I don't know that they're friends. I think that they just know that something needs to be done about SoCal distancing. There's 5 of them now, and they outnumber everybody. So Terry says, I wished Action Mike Jackson would show up again. Willie says, can't wait for the 500th episode spectacular. Now, that will be a 2-week blockbuster spectacular. So in 2 weeks, it starts part 1, and then the next week is part 2, and we got some really fun stuff for you guys, too, on those episodes. Some stuff that have not been announced yet, obviously. Jamode says, I want to see you and The Miz wrestle in the WWE ring. Okay, so funny quick story. When I was doing WWE spots and The Miz was there, this was many years ago, he had the blonde and all that stuff in his hair, and I had blonde in my hair. So they literally wanted me to color my hair all one color because it looked like The Miz's. Now, luckily, they didn't make me do that, but that's just how particular they are at WWE. It's like, like Shane Helms, perfect example. He was changed to Gregory Helms because there's already a Shane McMahon. Your hair kind of looks similar. Nah, you got to change that. So I'm a big fan of The Miz, too. If you remember back in the day, he was not that good of a wrestler. He came from MTV's Real World, and man, now he is like one of the biggest stars they have, his own TV show on USA, Money in the Bank contract holder, world champion, main evented WrestleMania. Like, what more could you do? WGS says, appreciate any advice you have. If you don't hear back from me today, WGS, you'll probably hear back from me tomorrow. I got a busy day ahead. The ref had to have been to check Howdy for missing. The ref had to have been on the take from Howdy for missing that. I agree. How do you miss that? That's all right. So not only do you look at the shoulders when you're a referee, but you definitely have to make sure that they're not under the ropes, no feet on the ropes, no tights being pulled. It's kind of like driving. You got to see all of your surroundings at one time before you make a decision to turn or to go fast or slow or stop, whatever. Referee dropped the ball today, so we're going to blame him. And Dane Joseph did blame him. Coley says, SoCal distancing strike the first blow. Willie says, have a great Christmas for you and Maria and the kids. Man, we can't wait. So next week is the 19th, so that'll kind of be like our holiday type of themed show. And then we get into the big 2-week blockbuster. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us on the live chat for a brand new episode 89 of Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. And if you want to save $500 on a new roof replacement and you're in the Mid-South, they are actually licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas, proshingle.com, 901-258-6503. Let them know that you love professional wrestling if you need their help. Brand new podcast. Now, I'm going to reach out to Papo Esco and see if Papo will be my guest on the podcast. And unless he says no, hopefully we'll hear from Papo Esco. He doesn't know it yet, so don't tell him. I'm going to reach out to him and say, hey, champ, we got to get you to come on. So that's at noon on Monday. And then be sure to subscribe because we have brand new videos that are released each and every week, each and every day, actually, a brand new video. All the matches from today's episode are posted in full, absolutely free, right here on this YouTube channel. Be sure to take a look at the playlist, and we'll catch you back at noon next Saturday, noon Central Time. Of course, live chat and a premiere right here on YouTube for episode 90. We are just 11 episodes away, 10 episodes away, technically 10 episodes away on 90. So in a week, yeah. Anyways, almost at 100. How cool is that? James says, are you a wrestler, Dustin? Yes, I've been wrestling for over 20 years. What name did you use in WWE? They named me Daniel Schuyler, but I wrestled as all sorts of different names, whatever they came up with me for that day. Are there any matches I can see with you wrestling online? So go to, write this down. I'm going to put it in the chat, a YouTube channel, 5-Star Fan Cam. So go to 5-Star Fan Cam, and you can watch matches with me versus Jerry the King Lawler, me versus Hurricane Helms, me versus Badass Billy Gunn, me versus Rikishi, me versus Brian Christopher, me versus Jeff Jarrett. And, of course, my Maria is in my corner for all these matches and so much more. I mean, we've wrestled Scott Steiner, Buff Bagwell, a ton of different things. But if you go to 5-Star Fan Cam on YouTube, you can see many of our matches. Let's see here. David, thanks for having us over again. Dustin, missed you last week. Yes, of course, I was out and about last week. Reginald, thanks for the reply. More power to you guys. Thank both of you guys, David, Reginald, Jamode, everybody. Thank all you guys for being here today. The Howdy Price, and Levi Shapiro. Can you put Howdy Price in a cage? Yes, that's Memphis. Put Howdy in a cage. Wow. Houston Body in Training. Yes, part 2 of Houston Body in Training happens next week. The training session from today is already posted in full on this YouTube channel, so you can watch that if you missed it. SoCal Distancing is a version of the Four Horsemen in the NBA Pro Wrestling in the 80s. I would say Four Horsemen, SoCal Distancing. No hate to those guys. They would agree with me. Jake Roberts would be great in the Dark Order. Great. Was gonna need a big cage. That's right. You're gonna need a big old shark cage. But everybody, if you're in the Mid-South, come see us tonight at 3589 Summer Avenue. There are only a few tickets left. It's SOAR Championship Wrestling. I'll see you all on Monday at noon for a brand new Championship Wrestling podcast. It's episode 50. I look to have a very special guest, hopefully one half of the United World Tag Team Champions. And then, of course, next Saturday is episode 90. We've got Jordan Clearwater defending the Heritage Championship against Will All Damn Day. And there's going to be some other stuff, so stay tuned at CW30 Wrestling on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And, of course, right here on the YouTube channel. That way we will release what's going to happen. You'll have the official card and everything like that. And we're 2 weeks away from our big blockbuster spectacular where the women's division championship hangs in the balance. Will we sanction our first ever women's division championship? James, I appreciate it. You guys have a good weekend. Everybody, Gaming, Bo, Snalem, thank you from Germany. Dubai, all you guys, Keith, Willie, Coley, Jamode, Reginald, David. I know I'm going to leave somebody out. We love all you guys. We thank you for all the support. Be sure to follow us at CW30 Wrestling. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. One time before I go. Oh, yeah. See you guys.